Just sort that. Have we got everything? Hello, good morning. Just making sure that everyone's coming in and that we are ready to get started. How are you all this morning? How is your Tuesday going? Let me know in the comments how you're getting on with our signing that we've been, whether you've been watching them throughout the rest of the month or not. Be interesting to see who's new and who's been coming along and is now almost an expert as we end or come to the end of our free signing videos. Oh my goodness. Okay, just waiting for a couple of more people to just come in and then we will begin. Is it sunny where you are? The sun beaming down here today and we're all stuck in the office, but it looks really nice. Okie dokie. So let's get going then, shall we? So hello, my name is Maxine, which you'll probably already know by now because you've seen my face probably more than you'd care to admit this past month. As we have said previously, Signalong turned 30 this month, officially on the 9th of April. 30 years ago we launched, hi Danielle, we launched our phase 1 as well, which today is still our most popular and preferred training manual as well. So to celebrate, we have been giving you daily live videos where possible to teach you as many sign-along signs as we can, really. We have picked vocabulary from our posters that we feel are appropriate to many different people. So for children, for adults, for schools, for the NHS, tried to pick a good variety, I'd say is the right word I'm looking for, so that it's appropriate to as many people as possible. They might not always be appropriate to you directly, but they might be to somebody that you know, or for your place of work, something like that. So if they're not always appropriate to you, it's still handy if you share them because other people might find them. But I apologise if they are not all catered to yourself. Today we're going to be learning the signs on the safety first poster. So a nice different one, probably not one of our most obvious posters that we have actually, and a good selection of vocabulary on here for many different scenarios. So it's a really nice one to learn. We also currently still have our 30% offer on our phase 1 manual. That's coming to an end on some Saturday. So if you do still want to buy one and get a good discount off them, it's reduced from £26 to £18.20 at the moment. So an absolute bargain to be had. Just to remind you, we also now have the sign library, the text service and our app available. Some people were asking in other lives during the weeks, they can only view them for our manuals, and that's not the case. We've got lots of different digital options available for you so that you can use it wherever you might be in the world. So as with all of our videos, I'm going to teach you the skills and the methodology of performing sign-along signs. As I said, these signs in particular that we're learning today might not be appropriate to you. However, the skills that are at all of our beginning of all of our videos and on the bright yellow pages in our manuals are the keys to unlocking all of our signs. So the idea being, I teach you these skills and this methodology. You can then go away and perform any of our signs. So 9,000 plus signs that we have. You don't necessarily need to see the image or have the description in front of you. I should be able to say the description to you. And with you now knowing those skills, you can perform that sign. Obviously, if you're not an expert, which nobody is, let's be honest, but you're not fully practiced in Signalong, it might well be that you need just a little bit of reassurance, which we have videos available for on our sign library for you to watch. But equally, us in the office are more than happy to film ourselves performing the sign for you and send it to you. So don't ever be afraid if you need a sign to just ask. We're more than happy to help. Equally, so are our 400 plus tutors that are up and down the UK too. So if you look on our website, you'll see that we've got a list of all of our tutors available with some of their contact details. If you can't get hold of us in the office for whatever reason, or you'd rather speak to a tutor that's local to you, get in touch with them. They're more than happy to help. And I'm sure that Danielle, one of our fantastic tutors up in Edinburgh, will absolutely vouch for what I've just said there. So yeah. Let's begin then. So we have what is known, as I said, as our skills and our methodology at Signalong. It's what makes our system slightly different to other sign-supported communication systems in that we use unaltered BSL signs where possible, but the way that we break the signs down makes them consistent and universal across the whole of our signs. So you'll see each one of our sign descriptions will be set out in exactly the same way for you to be able to perform that sign correctly and accurately as possible. We have something known as hop to move, which is how we remember it, and that consists of your hand shape, your orientation, your placement, and then the movement of the sign. With all of those key skills in place, you should be able to perform our signs. So I'm going to quickly whiz through them because you've had almost an entire month of all of these now, so they're going to be nice and brief and sharp, and we'll get to those signs, but I have to teach you them so that you can get that accuracy in your signing down to a T. So we are going to look at our signing window. Everyone should know this by now. It comes just above your head, out past your shoulders, down the working sides and supporting sides, and just below your waist level. This is where all of our signs will take place, and then you also have a middle line that's invisible too. That comes into play in just a second. So all of our signs, as I said, take place within this window. Some might be at the top, some might be out to the side, some will be in the middle, and some will be down the bottom. We then have our hand shapes, the orientation within that signing window, and then the movement of each of our signs as well. So quickly whizzing through, remember to pick your working side and your supporting side. By that we mean pick a working hand and a supporting hand. You will no longer refer to them as left and right when you are concerned with Signalong, and keep the consistency. We say your working hand will be your most dominant hand, so for me, right-handed, and I apologise if this is mirrored to you, and my supporting hand will be my left hand. All of my signs will be performed using my right hand initially, unless I need to use my supporting hand for the sign too. We say to keep consistency with this to create less confusion when you're performing your signs. Should have put my teeth in this morning, I'm so sorry. Obviously not had enough coffee. Yeah, so whatever working hand you pick and that you get to sort of use a little bit more and you find you're most comfortable with, stick with that. Some of our signs can look very similar but have a completely different context, and if you're chopping and changing your working hand and your supporting hand all of the time, you're likely to cause a lot of confusion there. So pick your working hand, your supporting hand, and then stick with them. If you find that you've picked them and it doesn't feel quite right, it's not comfortable, flip it round, but then stick with that decision. So for me, right hand is my working hand, my left is my supporting. When I'm not needing to use my supporting hand, I tuck it away so that it's completely clear what hand you're focusing on. You'll also see I have no jewellery, no watches, no nothing to distract you, a nice clear background as well, so that you can focus solely on me, my hands, my face and my body language, as Signalong is a total communication system. That means that we use our signs, our speech, our entire facial expressions and our body language, as well as gestures, to convey our signs. So that's all of the first bit covered. Next we're going to learn our hand shapes. These are important because all of our signs are denoted using a hand shape to get that accuracy correct. So whizzing through, we have a flat hand. There's no kinks, no curves, it's completely straight and no gaps, other than obviously these little ones I can't do anything about, but between our fingers and our thumbs. So a nice flat hand. Stretch that all out, and we have an open hand. Just claw those fingernails in, and this is your clawed hand. You can see it a bit better from the side there, clawed hand. Going back to your flat hand, just bend those fingers over at a 90-degree angle, and this is your bent hand. Turn that over and slightly curve your fingers, keeping your thumb nice and flat and all your fingers in tightly together. As we said in all of our videos, imagine you've got a pool of water in your hand and you can't let any of it escape. This is your cupped hand. Then bunch all of your fingertips to your thumb tip, so like this. This is a bunched hand. From your flat hand, bend those fingers all the way down, keeping your thumb tucked in, but your fingernails all nice and visible. This is a closed hand. Tuck those fingernails away and clasp that down with your thumb. This is a fist, just as you would normally make a fist, so a fist hand. Just extend that index finger and your thumb to create a nice curved shape. This is a C hand. Bring those other fingers in line with your index, keeping that same curved shape here. This is a full C hand. Extend your middle, third and little fingers, but keep your index and your thumb perfectly together in a lovely round shape. This is an O hand. Bringing those fingers in line with your index finger, but keeping just your index finger in contact with your thumb and none of the others. Keep that nice round shape. That's a full O hand. Extend your index, middle and third fingers, keeping your thumb and little finger tucked away there. This is an M hand. Hi Kathleen, nice to see you. Tuck that third finger down, leaving just your middle and index. I keep getting my index finger confused. Extended. This is an N hand. Extend your index finger, tuck everything else away and just hook it over. This is an R hand. Kind of looks like a lowercase r, and I'll turn it round just so you can see everything else is tucked away. Just an R hand. Then take your index and your middle fingers and extend those and spread them apart. This is your V hand. Hi Diane, I expect you to be an expert then. If you already do signing, it'd be good to see some of yours as well. So make sure you're following along and give some of these a go. So there are 16 basic hand shapes. We then have 10 additional hand shapes. And this starts with a closed hand. Extend your little finger and your thumb to this shape. It's a Y hand. It kind of looks like the letter shape Y. As you're signing it, this is a Y hand. Take your fist and extend just your index finger, tuck everything else away and keep it all nice and tight. This is an index hand. Then close everything down, just extend your thumb. This is a nice simple thumb hand. We will have to tag us, Diane, in some of your songs if you've got videos available. We'd love to see it. I sign to songs too, but I just can't sing. So I tend not to do that very often. From your fist, just extend your little finger, just like this. Keep everything else tucked away. This is your little finger hand. Take your index and your thumb and parallel to each other, keeping a nice clear gap between the two. This is an open pinched hand. The opposite of that is a closed pinched hand, and you just close it. So a closed pinched hand. Going back to that open pinched hand, bring your other fingers in line but parallel to your thumb. This is an parallel bent hand. So imagine our bent hand that we had earlier, just bring your thumb parallel, a parallel bent hand. Extend those fingers slightly and keep that thumb parallel. This is a parallel flat hand. So like a flat hand, bring your thumb in line, just a parallel flat hand. Take your index and your thumb and extend both of those. This is an L hand, or an L hand, however you want to, but an L hand. From there, tuck your thumb up and bring your index finger over the top and tuck it around your thumb. This is a tucked hand. So I'll show you a little bit closer. So you take your thumb, hook that index over the top and tuck it in, a tucked hand. And they're all of our hand shapes. I know that that's quite quick, and if you're new to these videos, you're probably not going to remember those, and that's absolutely fine. Once these all get re-uploaded again on Friday for you to watch again in your own time, or you, after this live, you go back and watch some of our previous videos from last week, you'll see all of those skills are there, and you can just practice those hand shapes in your own time, because it's important to get those correct and accurate. But for the purpose of today, I'm going to whiz through it all for you. We then have our placement done. We have our hand shapes down to a T. We are then going to look at orientation. This is formed of two parts, palms facing and hands pointing. I'll come to the hands pointing in a second like normal, but the palms facing is wherever your palm is facing. They can face in 6 directions. So they can be in, out, up, down, forwards and backwards. So some examples of some signs that we have for those is palms in, like in the sign for big. They can be palms out, like in the sign for poorly or ill, whichever one you usually use. They can be palms up. So see, my palm is pointing up to the top of that imaginary signing frame that we've got, like in the sign for today. They can then be facing down, like in the sign for chair. They can sign forward, face forward, sorry, like in the sign for stop. So you see my palm is facing forward of my signing window, ahead of myself, so stop. And they can face back, like in the sign for love. As I said, we then have hands pointing. We talk about hands pointing to mean from our wrist to our palm knuckles, just this section here. So wherever this is pointing is the direction that you are looking for. So the same 6 directions, in, out, up, down, forwards and backwards. So some examples to show you so that you can kind of see what I mean are pointing in across the signing window, like in the sign for sit. They can point out towards the outside of our signing window, like in the sign for person. They can point up, so you see this part to this part is pointing up to the top of my signing window, like in the sign for building. They can point down, so again this part to this part of my hand is pointing down to the bottom of the signing window, like in the sign for down. They can point forward, so ahead of the signing window, like in the sign for book. And they can point back to the signer, so in the signing window, like in the sign for me. I'll turn sideways so you can see that, so me or I. We then have diagonals in some of our signs, and they're denoted with a forward slash. So you will probably see things like in the sign for house. So this would be pointing in, palm facing, palms in, pointing, palm in, my goodness, palm in, up, pointing in and up. So on a diagonal for house. Oh, I think I need to restart the day, you know, because I thought I was nailing all of these and then I've just gone and stuttered my way through all of that. I hope you followed along. So now we've got our placement, our hand shapes and our orientation down. We're going to look at movement. We used to say that the majority, well, some of our signs move, but actually it's now more likely the majority of our signs move. So you'll see that denoted by a little movement arrow in our images, and I will come to those for you in just a second. But for now, we're going to look at the directions in which our signs can move, and it's the same 6. So they can move in, out, up, down, forwards and backwards. So some examples of those. So moving in the signing, into the signing window, like in the sign for boy. They can move out of the signing window, like in the sign for cat. They can move up to the top of the signing window, like in the sign for up. They can also move down the sign-in window, like in the sign for trousers. They can move forwards, like in the sign for fish. And I'll do this way around, so fish moves forwards. And they can move back towards the signer, like in the sign for come. So that then would be to come. We then have some of our signs that can move, but they circle as they move. These move horizontally, vertically, in and out, and can move forwards and backwards. So slightly different directions there. But circling, we say, to remember this, is in for a hug, out for a clout. What we mean by that is if you were to circle in, you'd look like you were going to give somebody a hug. And if you circle out, out of the sign-in window, then you'd probably clout someone or something. So in for a hug, out for a clout is a great way to remember those circling movements. As I said, they can move horizontally or vertically. So horizontally, circling in would have the sign for park. So you see it circles in to the sign-in window. I'd look like I was hugging somebody for park. Circling out, like in the sign for where. Vertically circling in, like in the sign for school. So even though it's small, you'd still come into the sign-in window for school. And then circling out vertically, like in the sign for sun. So sun or sunny. Circling forward, like in the sign for train. Turn sideways for you again so you can see train. And then circling back, like in the sign for wait or patience. We then have the formation movement, and this is where you might have two different hand shapes in possibly two different orientations, but they move together as one. So like in the sign for boat. So if you look, this is what your hands would look like from your head height if you were looking down, for boat. Or a V hand and an N hand together to make horse. So the two different hand shapes, but the formation moves as one. Equally, you'd have teapot. This is a nice one to remember. Okay, so I said when signs move, you get the movement arrows, and that's what they look like. I'll quickly whiz through them for you. So this one is a sign that moves in one continuous direction. This is a sign that moves backwards and forwards, like we had for hello when I first came in. This one is a stop-start movement, so a sign that starts and then carries on again. So like in the sign for, oh, nearly fell over, take away. So take away, it's a broken movement. This is the arrow that denotes a movement in one direction and then another. This one is a repeated movement, so any movement arrow you see that has a double head on it just means to repeat the same movement again. This one is like the sign for cats that we had, where they move in opposite directions. This one is a sign to denote a stress or a short, sharp movement, so end with emphasis. These ones look like signs that open and close again and open again, so like in the sign for bubbles. So it opens, closes, opens, closes, opens, closes, so bubbles. We then have this movement that starts open and then closes, like in the sign for man. And then the opposite starts closed and opens, like in the sign for light or lamp. The last two then we have is this splat, which means for contact. So like in the sign for jumper, you actually make contact with your body for that one. And then this last one is a quivering movement. So you'll see it's got the little vibration lines there. And this would be like in the sign for tree. So I hope you've all managed to follow along with that. Just said, don't worry if you get lost, you get a little bit, oh my goodness, this is quite a lot. There is quite a lot. But learning those skills, as I said, means that you can move on and you can learn any of our signs by just knowing those key skills to unlocking our signs. So let's get into it. As I said, we're going to do the safety first poster. What I'll do is I'll read out the description to you. I will break down the sign as I read the description out so you can follow along, and then there'll just be a chance for me to go over it again. If there are any signs that you would like to know while I'm here, please drop them in the comments below and I will answer them. Equally, please let us know what you would like to see more of from us going forward. So our lives will end on Friday. That will be the last lot that we do for this month. So if you've got any ideas for any other videos that you'd like to see from us, please let us know, particularly more for adults and for children as well, so that we can cater to everybody that we've got on Facebook. But we'd love to have your input. Okay, so the first one we're going to learn is home. So we're going to take our working bent hand, palm in, pointing up. We're going to bend inwards from the wrist while moving in a short way, finishing palm down, pointing in. So the sign for home is this, home. And again, home. Can't control my elbow, it wants to go out every time, but home. Remember, when you are using Signalong, to speak as you sign as well. We want to hear those lovely voices and see those lovely hands. The next one we have is danger. So our working flat hand, palm in, pointing forward, moves up sharply to stop in front of nose, pointing up. So danger. And I'll turn sideways so you can see that one. So it will look more like this. Danger. So nice and sharp, because you want somebody to say, oh, danger. The idea is the urgency there, so danger. Next we have the sign for rules. So we're going to take our working index hand, palm back, pointing in. It's going to move firmly down to rest on supporting flat hand, palm up, pointing forward. So rules. And you make contact. There is a contact splat on there. So rules. I'll read that description again for you. Working index hand, palm back, pointing in, moves firmly down to rest on supporting flat hand, palm up, pointing forward. Rules. The next one we have is cuts. So we're going to take our working index hand, palm up, pointing in. It's going to brush inwards across the thumb of our supporting thumb hand, palm in, pointing forward. This way. And this can be a directional sign as well. So this can be used on any appropriate part of your body. So if you've got a cut on your knee, it would be, you know, the cut on your knee, or a cut on your shoulder, something like that. So working index hand, palm up, pointing in, brushes inwards across supporting thumb, across thumb of supporting thumb hand, palm in, pointing forward. So cuts. And again, cuts. Like cuts and bruises and things. Next up we have bandages. So we're going to take our flat hands, means both of them, palms back, pointing in, working hand above, so look like this. It's going to move in a forward circle around supporting hand as though wrapping a bandage. So that looks like this, bandage. I'll turn sideways so you can see that. So it goes forward, so bandage. Note that my hand shapes don't change at all. So we're not like this. It is simply flat hands the whole time, palms back, pointing in. So the whole time they stay in that direction. Working hand above, moves in forward circle around supporting hand as though wrapping a bandage. Bandage. Next we have burn. So we're going to take our working clawed hand, palm back, pointing in. It's going to move sharply across our chin from supporting side to working side, and then move to touch the affected area. So that looks like this. I'm going to say I've burnt my arm. So we're going to burn. Working clawed hand, palm back, pointing in, moves sharply across chin from supporting side to working side, then moves to touch affected area. Burn. And when you touch, you actually make that contact as well. We say with our signs to finish speaking as you finish signing. So you'll see that that's quite a long sign in comparison to how quick you say the word burn. So I started the sign first and then said burn. So if you see it, it would be burn. It's so that you can free yourself up to move on to the next sign. So try and get into that habit. And if you're ever unsure, just practice it a few times and then you'll get comfortable with how quick the sign is or how slow it needs to be, something like that. But just bear that in mind. What you need to be able to do is to just quickly get that sign out, but correctly. Allow them the time to process that sign and that information that you're giving them, but free yourself up to move on as well if you need to put that into a sentence, especially if it's a danger because you might burn yourself. It's nice, and that's how it should flow. So we're halfway through. Let's go back to the next one. We have bruise. So we're going to take that working clawed hand again on our supporting forearm. So the arm comes across the body. Note that there is no orientation for this. It's just a supporting forearm across your body and your working clawed hand as well. So working clawed hand on your supporting forearm, arm across body, twist down while maintaining contact with your arm. And it may be signed wherever appropriate. So again, it'd be a directional sign. So bruise. It's ironic actually, because I think I have a couple on my arms. But bruise. I'll read that again for you so you can follow. Working clawed hand on supporting forearm, arm across your body, twists down while maintaining contact with arm. So bruise. Next we have the sign for careful. This is a great one to go in line with the danger, isn't it? So careful. C hands. So remember those nice C-shaped curves. C hands, palms back, pointing up, held just below your eyes, drop forward to palms up, pointing forward. So careful. And I'll turn sideways so you can see that as well. Hopefully I'm in shot. Careful. So you could put that in a sentence. Careful, there's a danger ahead. Something like that. Nice and simple. Next up, we have the sign for help. So we're going to take our blade, which is this part of your hand. Blade of working fist rests on supporting palm. This is it. It can look like this. It can look like this. However, blade of working fist rests on supporting palm. Formation moves up and forwards. So nice and simple. Help. You can also sign help me. So you would have this, but the formation will move up and back. So help looks like help. And then help me would look like help me. So depending on the context of the situation that you're after there, you can offer help. Would you like some help? Can you help? Or can you help me? Next we have the sign for fall. So this is like taking a tumble, something like that. So our working B hand, palm back pointing down, on back of supporting hand, palm down pointing in. It's going to drop forward over supporting little finger to finish palm up. So fall. And I'll show you that this way. I'm hoping that that's the kind of thing you're looking for when you're performing this sign. So it would start here and it would be fall. So you just fall off your hand. From the other way, I don't know if this is a bit easier for you to see, but fall. Read that again for you. Working B hand, palm back, pointing down, on back of supporting hand, palm down, pointing in, drops forwards over supporting little finger to finish palm up. Fall. Next up we have the sign for accident. So we are going to make letter shape A. Then our working hand pulls away sharply, changing to C hand, palm in, pointing up. So accident. You can sign that letter shape A however you need to move freely. We would say accident. Accident. So make letter shape A, then working hand pulls away sharply, changing to C hand, palm in, pointing up, accident. And the last one that we have for today is school, because it's likely that most of our users will be in school and are likely to encounter some of this safety stuff. And have accidents and trips and falls and need some assistance, but that's not to say that it's indefinite. Obviously you can happen in your home, it can also happen at work, it can happen anywhere, but for the purpose of this poster we're going to learn the sign for school, which we had earlier on in our examples as well. So we're going to take our working flat hand, palm back pointing up. It's going to make a vertical inward circle in front of your chin, but do not cover your mouth. So school, and you don't touch your chin either. So school. So sideways, so you can see there is a gap there. School. So that description again, working flat hand, palm back, pointing up, makes vertical inward circle in front of chin. Do not conceal your mouth. School. So as I said, that's all of the signs that are on our safety first poster. If you've got any other signs that you would like to know while I'm here, please just quickly mention them in the comments and I'll hopefully be able to do those for you. But we hope that throughout all of April, there has been something that you've been able to learn and take from our live sessions. Don't worry if you or somebody you know wanted to attend, couldn't stay for the whole of this video or couldn't make it at all. As per the last few weeks, we're going to re-upload all of our live sessions from this week, again on Friday. And there might also be a surprise on Friday too. So if you're around about lunchtime, maybe on either Instagram or TikTok, we might be doing a surprise live across the two of them at the same time. I know, I'm a glutton for punishment, as some people might say, but we want to give back to you. It's thanks to you and everybody that uses Signalong that we've been able to operate for the last 30 years, and we hope to continue for 30 more years at the very least. So we hope you found them useful. If there is anything you would like to know, please get in touch with us. As I said, my name is Maxine. I'm the office manager here at Signalong, and I'm more than happy to help, and I'm also in charge of any social media and any emails and things that come in. So get in touch with me if you want to ask me anything. Don't forget to check out the website as well. We've just launched our CPD accredited training courses. So all of our tutors are now eligible to offer you CPD accreditation if you join one of our Signalong training courses with them. You can get in touch with your local tutor by visiting the website and clicking on the tutors tab at the top. There's a nice little spreadsheet there that you can scroll down to find your area and contact the tutor directly. What else do we have? We've also launched Signalong Friendly as well. So if your organisation uses Signalong and you want to advertise that you are Signalong friendly for people who visit your organisation and you want to be able to offer them support and assistance, then look at joining one of our memberships. You get some fantastic discounts as well when you're purchasing resources or training for people in your establishment, things like that. But you're also advertising that you support Signalong and you're able to offer that support and that help to the users there, so instantly putting them at ease. So something to look into. All the details are available on our posts throughout this week. If you want to see anything else, let me know. I'm happy to provide any videos you think are going to be more relevant, because after all, we want to give you the most appropriate content rather than just giving you anything. So yeah, keep in touch with us, let us know. But for now, I'm going to sign off and say goodbye. Tomorrow we are live at 2:30 on YouTube, and then Thursday at 3:30 on TikTok. As I said, if you're available on Friday for a little surprise live, come and join us on Instagram and TikTok. If not, catch us on Friday again, where we're going to repost all of these videos so that you can watch them again in your own time. But thank you very much for all of your lovely comments and for all of the likes that were coming through at the same time as well. I could see them all. And thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye.